Hello, and welcome back, Scrollies listeners, to another episode of Scrollies, our premiere podcast. And I am Team Ratnado. I am here with my co-host, SqatCobblr.
Hi, how much dedicated WAM should I have for my podcast?
Oh, Lord, get me off this podcast. You know what, Sqat, you're going to need at least 25. Do you have 25?
Yeah, I have 25 dedicated WAM.
You should probably download like 25 more and then triple it.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll download more WAM. How's it going, everybody?
What is this voice?
Oh, you don't know? It's
Who is
a
that?
Meme. It's a meme, everyone. But we're not trying to download any WAM for our Minecraft server or for our podcast, but we are going to be talking about WAM today.
WAM
and Wasky Wabbits. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's
my goodness.
SqatCobblr with the R.
Did somebody say without it?
Yeah. Oh, you don't actually know this meme. It's a old meme from Minecon. The first ever Minecon. Some kid asked a question, a Q&A about dedicated WAM.
That's right. I think I have seen that. Now that I know the context, I'm like, okay. Yeah, I heard those Minecraft conventions. I've seen like videos of them. Like, oh gosh, I'm glad I never went to that, and I was too old to be into that.
Hey, you know that kid is now probably a full-blown adult, living their life. Are they still looking to upgrade their Minecraft server? Who knows?
Well, Triple Threat SqatCobblr, he's a Twitch streamer, he's a YouTuber, and he's on a podcast. I'm sure he's got other things, but for now, Triple Threat? When are you going to add Quadruple Threat?
I don't know. I have to break into a whole different medium. Maybe I'll start doing stage work. Vaudeville, I heard, is coming back into fashion, so...
Can we meme vaudeville back?
I'm going to dream vaudeville, and you meme it, and one of us will successfully turn it into the other.
Perfect. I'm in. Count me in. What's up, everyone? This week, we're going to be talking about PCs, specification. Something that I know a lot of people are scared of, or that they don't know much about. Me being one of them, I know enough to get around. It's like French. Like, I could probably get somewhere, but it wouldn't be great, and it wouldn't be fluent. But before we get to that, SqatCobblr, are you playing anything that you want to share about?
Well, Ratnado, there's not much to talk about at the moment. I was playing a little bit of Atomic Heart. I was playing a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2. I was playing a little bit of Hot Wheels Unleashed. All of these games, in fact, being from Game Pass, because that is basically my go-to right now, given that I'm waiting to actually buy a game this year. Haven't bought one outright since Elden Ring, so I'm waiting for that to change, more than likely with Jedi Survivor, if the reviews aren't total garbage.
Yeah. Have you finished Elden Ring?
You know, I actually have not really progressed in Elden Ring in about 4 months.
Fair.
Given my move, given my new job, it's just the time is not there, and also I just know there's so much left for me to actually play that I'm just like, you know what? It's always there waiting for me. My skill's gonna tank, and at that point, I just got to get good all over again, and that's the true Elden Ring experience.
Yeah, from what I understand, you were progressing pretty well. Actually, anything you ever said, I'm like, oh yeah, SqatCobblr, he's good at these games. He's a Soulsborne guy.
I was not maidenless for too long. I made it my mission to find myself a maiden, but then a maiden found me. So I guess that's fine. That works too. And at that point, I just went straight to the objective, got the floor wipe with myself, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go the other way, and that's what I did until eventually I was like level 40, and then I went back, and it wasn't so hard at that point.
Incredible, SqatCobblr. I'm glad to hear that.
Proc really wants me to finish it. At some point, I'm going to jump back into Elden Ring. My last memory of it was walking out of the castle with the first major boss into this glorious landscape, going, "Whoa, that's so pretty." And then I put the game down and haven't picked it back up. But that pretty landscape is awaiting me when I do turn back to it.
Yeah. What a good guy, Proc. He's just like he finished Final Fantasy VI. He's pushing you to play that. He wants me to play Death Stranding. Just good guy Proc. Always there to push us towards good games.
Proc just knows there's so few good games out there that he wants to share the ones that he encounters with everyone.
That clip you sent me of him being like, wow, whoa, no random encounters? It's like,
had I known, Ratnado, that Final Fantasy VI had an item that made the random encounters moot point. Had I known, Ratnado, that Final Fantasy VI gave you, at a point in the game, a item that made the random encounters a moot point, then, well, yeah, I would have already beaten it by now. I would have played it through several times. Give me those kind of RPGs. Random encounters out the window.
No, yeah, exactly.
I don't know how long it takes to get it, though.
It's about halfway, at least halfway through the game, probably a little more.
Is it worth it? Yes, probably is.
Yeah, we'll get there. I know I can redeem them, but I'm just like, I'm waiting for you to finish a bunch of stuff. Some, because there are things coming up.
Ratnado, you don't have to wait for anything. You are welcome to redeem Final Fantasy VI streams whenever you desire. And, you know, True. Well, I guess we'll talk about it in a little bit, but hopefully you don't desire it too much in the next 40 or so days.
Bingo. Exactly. That's kind of what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, so that was a big old non-answer, Ratnado. I'm not playing too much. How about you?
You're thinking about playing things, which is kind of the same thing, really.
I'm sampling a lot and not actually delving into anything at all.
It's coming. It's coming. I just picked up something. I'm likewise with you. Everyone knows I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, of course. Fortnite, I've been playing a little bit again. Today, shout out Eggy, Dee, and Mooncat. We played a little bit. Also, what I'm going to be playing next, I might stream it just as a little fun scrunch. Power Wash Simulator.
Whoa, that's also on Game Pass. We're a couple of Game Pass boys today.
Well, I don't have Game Pass. I just have the game, but...
Ratnado wasn't willing to take that risky avenue that I did to secure 3 years of it. And also my bank's crawl center to not trust me anymore. Also my bank's fraud center to not trust me anymore.
Well, I got it, and I'll tell you the reason I got it. Dee Dee was telling me, she says, guess what? You know Power Wash Simulator? I'm like, oh yeah, Geo. He was playing that game for a while. He's always streaming it on Discords. Much like yourself, kind of just like a traveling streamer. Passing through town, putting up a stream, and then rolling on out when when pockets were emptied. Dee Dee was like, yeah, guess what? You should get it. Have you got it? And I was like, no. She said, you should get it. Do you know why? And do you know why, SqatCobblr?
I know power washing is appealing. I know it's just a soothing comfort game, but I imagine there's more to it than this, Ratnado. Tell me why.
Because I think not long ago, they uploaded it with free DLC of Tomb Raider content and Midgar from Final Fantasy VII. They're in the game. You can power wash those places.
Well, tombs are pretty dirty, as is a cyberpunk city slum. So checks out that they would need to be power washed occasionally.
It's perfect. Yeah, I just got it. I got to download it. I'm gonna play it. I'm really excited because I've wanted to do that. There's a part of me that I told Papa Warstaff, if I ever get to like 10,000 followers, then I'm going to switch over to Truck Simulator. I'm going to become
That'll just be your thing now. I'm
going to build a whole thing around me. I'm going to make like a whole structure that looks like a truck, that's got all the right stuff where it needs to be. And I'm going to get like a 360 thing, with like 5 different TVs. So it's surround, so it actually looks like I'm there. But until that day comes, I'll have to be a power wash simulator and maybe like a lawn care simulator.
It's a grind in the sim games to just get to the point where you can afford to buy yourself a fake truck to drive your fake truck. And that's respectable. That's just honestly the hustle. We can respect it. Let's all give Ratnado a round of applause. Let's hope he's able to afford his truck someday.
Learn new skills, and then inevitably when the Twitch stream money runs out, when AIs are doing our job better than ours, I can just maybe I can get a job as a driver if AI hasn't taken that over yet.
That'll be the last bastion. AI won't be able to ship us anything. We'll have to do that ourselves, and then the AI will just do all the intelligent and creative work for us.
Because AI they can't see cars, they can't see lights, hey, which part of this is a car and which part of this picture is lights. They still can't do that, so that's where I'm going with this.
I hope that you walk to the end of this Twitch journey and you can gaze upon the vast horizon that is simulation games. They really are an endless ocean.
Oh my. Well, that's what's up with me and Squat. Now to the heart of it, Squat. Are you ready to talk about kind of what powers both of what we're talking about? I suppose there's other ways to do it, but Elden Ring, you can play that on a PC. Power Wash Simulator, you can play that on a PC. We're talking about PC gaming and downloading more WAM. Dedicated WAM.
Yeah, we've downloaded all of our dedicated WAM for this podcast. All right, Nato, what powers this discussion is my power supply, which I have listed here, but that's not very interesting. So let's talk about the experience first.
Oh my goodness. When I pitched this to you and we were talking about it, I think what interests me about it is learning from you, because I've asked you for a lot of help. As I said, I know some of the basics. Back in 2000, I knew what was going on more or less. And I get it. I understand how a computer works. I understand what each piece of it does. But I've been lost in the shuffle, and I've not been a PC gamer for 15 years probably, since 2007-ish. And finally, I got a PC for streaming, I think early 2021. Before that, I was just using a little laptop and playing consoles. And when I came back, not only was everything super expensive, I really didn't understand what I needed or what the differences were. So luckily, SqatCobblr helped me a lot with that, in just asking questions. And a lot of people I've asked, just I think I've said this before. I'm sure I've said this before, but my experience with PC gaming is to go to someone and they'll be like, no, don't get that. That's terrible for gaming. And then I go to another person like, what? No, that's stupid. Buy this thing. It's a lot. So hopefully SqatCobblr can help us, and we can share a little bit about what we use for the function of the stuff we love gaming. Some of you that stream that may not know some of this information, here's something.
Ratnado, I'm glad you say that, because 15 years ago, I don't even know if I knew what a computer was. It was what I used to go on to nick.com and
play the Avatar RTS game.
Yeah, play the point and click Avatar game. No, I myself did not know much at all. Maybe even 5 years ago. I'm all self-taught through YouTube tutorials, through internet forums. All this information is out there, everyone. So if you ever want to jump in, don't be scared away by just how much it is off the bat, because there are tutorials, there are guides for all levels. There's so many resources out there if you actually want to take the time and learn how computers work and how you can build your own that's custom suited for your needs. But also, no shame in going pre-built these days, because they're actually pretty good compared to where they were several years ago. We can thank COVID for that. So, yeah, we definitely have taken different tracks, Ratnado. I pretty much am using an entirely different computer than I bought in 2019, and yet I've only ever had one computer. So, piece by piece, it's slowly transformed into what it is now from its original self, which I think no longer are any of the original components there.
a true ship of Theseus. How many parts of a boat can you replace until it's no longer that boat?
Indeed. Well, let me throw this in the water, see if it floats, and I'll let you know.
Perfect. I found 100% when I was looking in early 2021, I should build something for streaming. I've kind of just been running off this old laptop, but it's struggling, and I want to play PC games on stream. And I'd like to, try out some of the things that I haven't been able to do that I've bought off Steam. I had a decent Steam library despite not being a PC gamer. And a lot of people were helpful, and a lot of people had a lot of opinions. And ultimately, I decided to just go with a pre-built, something I bought off Newegg, just because it was a good price. And trying to build mine at that time, because of the price of GPUs and stuff, it was a nightmare to do it that way. And I was saving so much money by just getting a pre-built.
Certainly, Ratnado. I do remember those days very well. Surprisingly, your internet was rock solid back then, but everything else about your streaming setup was, I think 720p is what you maxed out at, and no face cam. But not because you didn't have one, as we saw during the accidental face reveal of DK64. Lest you thought I forgot. a little sneak preview.
I did not forget.
The Ratnado.
Yeah. It was just because it was the webcam and I couldn't put it at a good angle. Like it was just like it was stuck wherever I put it, and because of my cable length.
Scorpion MDSA was very upset about that incident, but luckily there was only about 3 people there to see it, so
yeah,
it was quickly forgotten about. That said, Ratnado, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the pre-built versus build it yourself journey we've gone on. And certainly during COVID, due to manufacturing shortages, just supply chain issues, all kinds of things impacting vast arrays of electronics and whatnot. I mean, people were seeing it with consoles, people were seeing it with cars, and people were seeing it with PC parts. You opted to get a pre-built, which I think was probably the right call at the time, even if I myself was struggling to accept that as an option. But since then, I mean, I've had that's Amori build a PC with a little bit of input from me. That Mooncat Gab has gone and bought a PC. So I mean, there are good options out there these days. It just depends on what you're using it for and what you're willing to compromise on. Because nothing's ever perfect, and nothing's ever a one-size-fits-all. It's always based on what you need and what you're going to use it for.
Yeah. I think when I first started, I was looking at a bunch of different things. I was like, I had a budget of like, preferably, maybe under 1,500. And I was looking at a lot of stuff. There was like iBuyPower and a lot of those brands. And I'd heard a lot of bad stuff. And as I've come to learn, like those were kind of the older days. Like iBuyPower at first maybe wasn't the best. Some faulty stuff happening there. But these days, they've got a much better reputation. Like I said, I went and I bought for a pretty good price on Newegg. And it's starting to come out. It's starting to go a little bit out of date, and I'm starting to look at upgrading stuff, which is kind of why this is coming up to me. I'm like, I should start upgrading some things. I'm just going to rattle off and what I got with that purchase.
Let's hear it, Ratnado. What did you get? For
the CPU, an AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. Not terrible for 2021. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060. Also, not terrible. It originally came with 16 gigabytes of RAM. I have upgraded that since to 32.
Whoa, you had to open it up, folks.
Yeah, crazy. And then for the SSD, I mean, this is just like some brand, but it's the Team T25 3X2512G at about 512 gigabytes. It's been pretty good. Surprisingly, I was a little scared at first, but I've pushed it. I've streamed on it. I've played intensive games while streaming on it, and it's handled everything I've thrown at it. So
that's what you love to hear right now. That was a lot of letters and numbers right there, but they mean things, people. Look them up. Very nice. Here, I'll take a moment to do mine as well. I'll say what I've upgraded most recently and also what I've been holding on to the longest. At this point, probably the longest thing that I've had is my CPU. I bought that the summer of COVID-19, 2020, right before the supply chain totally tanked. They were still going off the reserves in stores. And with that, I was able to score a pretty good deal on it and my graphics card at the time, which I've since replaced. But that is an AMD Ryzen 9 3900X. It's pretty overkill for most games. I got it for video editing. I've upgraded my motherboard in the last couple of years to an MSI Mag X570 Tomahawk. My graphics card is the newest thing that I bought. I bought that this year. It's an MSI RTX 4080 Ventus 3X. That means it has 3 fans on it. And then my dedicated WAM is Corsair 64 gigabytes Vengeance at 3200 megahertz. And I have 2 drives. I have my SSD for programs and whatnot. That's a WD Black 1 terabyte SN750SE M.2. And then for my games drive, I have an Inland, that's the Micro Center brand, 2 terabyte QN322 M.2 SSD. So that's the actual tower itself. I got some monitors and whatnot I can name off as well, but that's not the interesting thing. That's That's not the engine that makes this horse go.
Wow, I didn't know we were talking megahertz, man. Geez, you really made me look a fool now.
Well, luckily for you, Ratnado, I just wrote all this stuff down and haven't had to think about it. So let this be no indication of any one host's knowledge over the other. It just is there on my Twitch page, as it is on yours now. You finally updated it from Ryzen CPU, which is what it had been for a
there
long
you
time.
go. It was for. I did it a while ago.
Oh.
It was upgraded. I changed. Like, it was. You guys all said that. I think like a week or two later, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I did need to go finish that."
Well, there you go. Now it's up to date until something changes again, because I'm never satisfied for too long. Next thing I'll probably upgrade is going to be my CPU, but I don't think I'll do that for another year or two. Wait until something. Because I mean, at that point, I'll probably just go ahead and upgrade my motherboard, my RAM, pretty much everything that's connected to it.
It's kind of cool that like you can do that. You can bounce around. Whereas like if you get a PS4, when PS5 comes out, it's not like, well, let me swap out these things so I can be up to PS5 quality. It's like your CPU is going to be good for a while.
Yeah,
it's still top of the line, so you don't have to worry about that. But now it's like, oh, let me. What else can I start to upgrade? What else can I do?
Definitely. And I mean, certainly you can sell the parts that you replace. You can also they usually hold their value pretty well depending on the brand. But I usually hold on to them not only because I'm a hoarder, but also because if you hang on to enough parts, eventually you can make an entire another computer by just getting a couple things. So that guy and McButcher are both the proud owners of my former equipment in a brand new life, and a new second life.
A Minecraft machine for McButcher. I can't think of anything sweeter that comes from just hoarding. Is there anything better that has happened because of hoarding?
You know, I don't think there ever has. I think honestly, McButcher in Minecraft. I mean, he was playing off a 2013 MacBook Pro up until last Christmas. So for a genius of his caliber in the Minecrafting, it was frankly unacceptable to witness. He had to be working with the tools that a master would be expected to carry. Which in this case is my old PC parts.
Right, exactly. Incredible. So, I mean, looking for somebody, I don't know if there's anything that you can like say, like for example, I know that NVIDIA has like built-in stuff that is really good for like video editing. Is that similarly the same for like gaming and stuff? I guess I'm kind of thinking for somebody who's like, maybe it's time for me to upgrade. What should I do? Where's the first place you go when you start upgrading?
So we're actually living in a pretty good time as far as these manufacturer competitions goes, because that makes it only all the better for the consumer. At one point, Intel and NVIDIA were top dogs. They had no real challengers. But then AMD has risen up from being the easy second pick for poor people to actually, yeah, they make some pretty good stuff. So their CPUs and their graphics cards are giving both of those companies a run for their money these days. And we've seen them to the point where they have to actually start trying to one up the competition again, and that's made for some better products and in some cases better deals, but for NVIDIA not quite as so, as I can discuss in a moment. But if people are looking to upgrade now, I would certainly say to look for something with more CPU cores, because the more cores the better these days. With gaming, it kind of depends on what the game is, but for emulation, usually that's a single core application, so you want someone with strong single core performance. But for most modern games, you're going to be getting multi-core, and CPUs these days, I mean, they just have like tons of cores. What are cores? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Just look for more cores.
You need more.
You just need more.
Right.
As far as RAM goes, I mean, like, you know, this will be outdated in no time flat. But I'd say like at a bare minimum, maybe 16 gigs. 32 gigs if you want to live comfortably, and then you know, beyond that, it's usually not going to be a major advantage over, you know, whatever else, just because most games are targeting the lowest common denominator build, not the super high-end builds. So you can get the best of the best, and you can run everything at ultra settings, but it's going to cost you. Now with graphics cards, things have gotten pretty interesting lately. NVIDIA's really gotten themselves into hot water by just being kind of terrible, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
They're not a very pleasant company to work with from the distributor's point of view. So EVGA, which was what I had for probably the last 5 or so years, exclusively for my graphics cards, they are no longer working with NVIDIA, and that was like by far their biggest product line was their graphics cards. That NVIDIA cards were the, that their biggest product line was their graphics cards, which were based around NVIDIA's cards. So with that, and the fact that the prices are just insane for their cards right now, NVIDIA's sort of falling out of fashion very quickly. But nonetheless, they also have quite an established base of people who just go to them automatically. I'm not against AMD cards, I just haven't used them myself. So as far as is it better for this or that, I will say I did bite the bullet and get one of their high-end cards, which is the first time I've ever done that. I usually was living in the mid-range. I had a 1050 Ti, and then I had a 2060 after that, which are both mid-range cards. However, I've recently upgraded to a 4080, as I've said, which is probably second to top tier and far overkill for most of the stuff that I play, because I usually play stuff that's like, a few years old at the latest, and then a bunch of like old like retro stuff. So nothing's really going to be pushing that card too hard. However, and this isn't the sole reason I got it, but this was a major factor. There is a video encoder built into it called the AV1 encoder. And that's not just with NVIDIA. Intel's Arc GPUs also have that built in, and I think some AMD ones do as well. But this is the future of online video encoding, Ratnado. Does that sound interesting to you people? It should, because H.264 is what has been the norm for like forever. That's what YouTube runs on, that's what Twitch runs on, that's what like every online video you ever see runs on, because it's small and it's easy to distribute online, not going to be too chunky, not going to buffer too much. So that's what people are going for. That's what people have been going for. That said, AV1, fairly new. It's a new standard introduced in the last few years, and it's royalty free, so anyone can utilize it without having to pay to some, whoever makes these things.
Whoever owns.
Whoever owns them. So everyone loves AV1 for that reason, because they can just use it for free. So Twitch is looking to switch to it. YouTube's, I think, already switched to it. All these websites are like totally behind it. Netflix, you name it. That said, not a lot of graphics cards actually have the encoder built in. Only the high-end ones do. But real cheap ones that have AV1 support is the Intel Arc cards. They're only a few $100s. For gaming, maybe not the best. But if you're just looking to stream and maybe stream console games, hey, why not consider it? Because not very expensive, and it's not running the game either. The console would be. That said, I think you can game on it a little bit. It's just not as optimized for that.
Well, we've talked about a few things with gaming. If you have questions, I think it's always appropriate to go and ask SqatCobblr on the huge Discord, I would imagine. Is there a text?
Maybe there could be. Maybe there will be by the time this episode drops. Yeah.
Hey, maybe you could go check out the huge Discord. You could ask people around and get some personalized help. Because I know one thing for me when I was looking for stuff is just finding people who understand what I was going to use it for. Sure, my buddy who works in IT is like, no, you got to spend this much money and you have to get this thing. But maybe for gaming and streaming, I only needed this much. And it's good to get like people with more rounded opinions and who know a few things. So, yeah.
And hey, everyone, these are opinions. Everyone has them. So what I'm telling you may not be what other people tell you. Do your own research, and hey, maybe you'll find that you actually come to enjoy this stuff and want to do it yourself. That's kind of what happened with me. I was just looking up computer stuff one day and came to really enjoy it. And here we are now, where I've built 3 computers for myself and family members, and then helped a bunch of other people build theirs. So, always happy to offer suggestions. Otherwise, I can help you narrow down a pre-built, because, like I said, they're not too bad these days, and honestly, more economical in some situations than buying the parts outright, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, Sqat, for another episode, and thank you, listener, for checking us out. We're still here. We're still doing things. Me, Team Ratnado, I have just finished pretty much all of Endwalker. I've got one patch. We are done with the main story for Final Fantasy XIV. So don't celebrate too much, though, because there's a lot of stuff that Vivian has demanded that I play. But we will be probably going to just twice a week of Final Fantasy, one for raids and one for that side content that she really wants to see.
I never thought I'd see the day, Ratnado. We're go back to other games. What's that even like anymore? I don't remember. What's coming up next, Ratnado? What are we celebrating with off the bat?
Metroid Dread. There you go. A game I started back in November and shelved.
Yeah, Cute-Vember was the time you decided to start that game for whatever reason. Not that I'm complaining.
Yeah, the game came out and I was having so much fun playing it, and you were there, and also I think Vivian also was like, "Oh yeah, you should keep streaming this," and I was like, "Well, we'll say Samus is cute, so it fits." And also, I think what I've decided, I've kind of had enough with this internet. I think I'm going to try, just for streaming, getting a cellular link, because that's always been really good. I'm not too far from a tower, and hopefully I was spoiled by good internet at Teo's place this past week, so I really want good internet again.
We're venturing into brave new unknown waters, Ratnado. I wish you the best in your endeavors. Hopefully that works out. I've never actually tried streaming on cellular, but hey, plenty of options out there when you're in desperate need of steady upload speeds. The fact that D-Day has come and gone twice now, Ratnado, D-Day standing for Divorce Day, not Ratnado's, but his landlord's. It's tragic, really. It's a day that shall live on in infamy.
Crazy. So, what about you? And I'm of course here with my co-host
SqatCobblr, and let me tell you, Ratnado, we are on the final boss of Mario & Rabbids at the time of recording. It's very hard. I've had to restart a bunch of times, but that should be dropping this week along with the parts immediately preceding it. So keep your eye peeled on the SqatCobblr YouTube channel for the finale of that Let's Play. And then we're going to be moving on immediately. Take a little inspiration out of your book, Metroid Dread. Well, how about we just call it Metroid May Returns? That's right, everybody. We're going to have 3 games streamed on Twitch and YouTube. We're going to have an entire Let's Play of Metroid Prime 2 on YouTube. And, hey, maybe even a special Metroid appearance at RatCon. So keep your eyes peeled on the SqatCobblr channels for that. It's a long-awaited return. We've all missed it very dearly. And you might even know what the plan for it is if you listened to Scrollies last year.
There you go. I was inspired, I have to say, by Metroid Maze of past, and I look forward for Hyper Metroid May sometime in the future as well. Who knows when?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See you later.